Okay. I think my battery died. Continuing on, I'm going to read something else. Something a little more clear and simple, because I'm rambling. It's not good. This is page 59, Manipulation by Guilt. This is very, very practical. Okay. It says, below is a table of should statements paired with their truthful revisions. Practice, so there's one that's more true, I guess. We're trying to learn to tell each other the truth, right? But in love. Practice revising your should statements in the same way. Okay, untrue shoulds. Untrue shoulds. Number one, you should take the time to thank me once in a while for all I do for you. You know what? You should take the time to thank me once in a while for all I do to you. I can't do it. I can't act. Let's see. True wishes and wants. I would really feel good if you were to tell me you appreciate some of the things I do for you. Wow, look how better that sounds. It's funny how a little bit of language, just putting this word over here, it just makes things so much better. I don't know. So instead of saying, you should take the time to thank me once in a while for all I do to you, it says, true wishes and wants. I would really feel good if you were to tell me you appreciate some of the things I do for you. Okay, number two. You must get ready now. We just can't be late again. Number two. This is the other one. I want to be at this party on time. Will you please be ready by 4:45? So I want to be at this party on time. So it's like, instead of saying you, these are all you statements, these are all I statements. That's interesting. You ought to brush your teeth 2 or 3 times a day to keep your breath fresh. Number three. I don't like to kiss you when your breath isn't fresh. Okay, so instead of saying you ought to brush your teeth 2 or 3 times a day, it says, sweetheart, I don't like to kiss you when your breath isn't fresh. I wish you would brush your teeth more often. Would you be willing to? So I was talking about kissing. Like, okay, if I brush my teeth, I get to kiss. Okay. Number four, you ought to turn off that TV and get outside and rake those leaves up. Randy next door finished his lawn this morning. Randy next door finished his lawn this morning. So we're comparing now. That's not a good thing. You ought to turn off that TV. You ought to turn off that TV and get outside and rake those leaves up. Randy next door finished his lawn this morning. Our lawn is covered with... Okay, here's the other one. Our lawn is covered with leaves, and I don't like the way it looks. I feel embarrassed because our neighbor's lawn is clean, and ours isn't. It would really please me if you'd rake them today. Will you? My goodness. Okay, so that's pretty good. Amazing. Notice how frequently the word I is used in the above statements. If you were going to tell others the truth, and it's all about telling people the truth, right? The truth about Jesus, the Bible, and everything, about love, about anything. Okay. Let's see. If you're going to tell others the truth, you will have to admit it when the purpose of your speaking is to gratify a wish or desire of your own. Okay, so you have to admit that the purpose of your speaking is to gratify a wish or desire of your own. And despite what you may, but it's a good desire. Just saying, we just don't want to be late, and we just, nice to feel appreciated once in a while. We just, would like to kiss a little more when the resident's so bad. Or we would like to, it'd be nice to have, just rake the lawn. It might take like 5-10 minutes to rake a lawn the way I do it. Okay. And despite what you, that's a small lawn. It's barely, okay. Let's see. And despite what you may have been led to believe, there is nothing wrong, especially with dishes, right? It doesn't take that much to do dishes. Why have a big argument with dishes when one person could just would do dishes and there's no argument? Father taught me that a long time ago. Okay, there's one time I was, how old was I? Teens or whatever, late teens or 16 or something. I was such a terrible kid. My goodness. Still a terrible person. I'm a terrible young person. But I refused to wash the dishes. And then my dad's like, okay, and then we just let it pile up. And then eventually he's like, then I just washed it all. But it was a huge pile. So, I don't know how that helps. Okay. There's a need for should language. It is, wait a minute. And despite what you may have been led to believe, there's nothing wrong with having and expressing wishes. Really? There's nothing wrong with having and expressing wishes? We don't have to be like mind-controlled robots? Okay. There is, however, something wrong with cloaking them in the guise of laws and commandments, as if heavenly authority were always on your side. Dr. Backus is very good at the language here. You could use a different language with that line, it would sound like different. There is, however, something wrong with cloaking them in the guise of cloaking. Otherwise, that's a beautiful word, cloaking. Reminds me of Jesus when he said, you have no cloak for your sin, because Jesus came. There is, however, something wrong with cloaking them in the guise of laws and commandments, as if heavenly authority were always on your side. When the truth is, it wasn't on my side. When I am impatient. Oh, impatience is a hard thing. Love is patient. Love is kind. Is not easily angered. only by the Spirit and by Jesus Christ and by all these things. And studying, reading the Bible, and then reading biblical doctrines and stuff like that. And on, 1,000 resources, and let's see, whatever works, I get for you. There is a need for should language. It is perfectly appropriate when it refers to true duty and obligation. If God has commanded something, it is usually truthful, straightforward, and loving to say such things as, you should love your neighbor as yourself. You must obey the traffic light. It's not you should obey the light. You should obey the traffic light. I don't think so. You must obey the traffic light. You must not steal your neighbor's peaches. Unless you're poor, then you can glean. But you cannot, don't care. Never mind. You ought not, man, the Torah is so beautiful. The laws, with this, is so... I'm rambling. I got to stay on track. You ought not get drunk and drive a car. But notice that these statements are not mere disguises for some friend's wishes. They are true obligations, leveled by God, or by a God-instituted authority. So we do have true obligations to God and to our fellow man, to our mom and dad, and to our wife, and to our kids, and to our company, and to, whatever it is. We have obligations we have to take care of course. Freedom from manipulation. If you have a problem with easily aroused guilt, you will want to use this chapter to gain freedom from the bondage of being readily manipulated. Do others lay a guilt trip on you rather easily and thereby manipulate you, or, failing that, leave you feeling guilty, frustrated, and angry? Guilty, frustrated, angry. Oh, it's terrible things to feel. I've made people feel this. I've made them feel guilty. I've made them frustrated. I've made them angry. I blame them instead of blaming myself. It's me. It's always me. It's always ourself. We can't change the world and try to change other people. Change ourselves, and we'll change other people. I want to give a very good thing that I noticed. In the first few years of my Christian experience, I was it was strange. I was afraid to preach. I was afraid to tell about my faith, and then I didn't know how to. I mean, I would maybe give a book or a DVD or something like that. But that's it. But I didn't really know how to talk, and I was still learning. I didn't know much about it. People, I didn't have to. People just kind of. It was even strange. There were people even copying me. There was even people who then they became vegetarian just because I became vegetarian, because I used to be over 200 pounds, and so just by example they just that happened. And also even sometimes like something with clothing or even my hair or something, I saw it was just this kind of strange atmosphere about it. I don't know. And I'm trying to get back to that, and grow even more and grow better and be a better person. Yeah, even my dad, who is the most devout Catholic you'll ever meet, and he's a better Christian than I am. I can say that without a doubt. He's a better Christian than I am. And we're judged by the light that we have. I can do a whole other thing on that some other time. But because I was a terrible kid. And drugs and oh my goodness, I must have been the decorated number one of school suspensions. And but I wasn't violent. It was just I wasn't violent. Also, well, occasionally, actually. Oh yeah, I was quite rude. Had quite a temper. I did some terrible things. Yeah. And so when my father just saw changes in me, and now I'm trying to analyze myself, and I'm not smart. Okay, that's why I'm reading these books. Don't you think I'm smart? Because I'm not. If I was, and so I was just thinking. Yeah, even my dad came to church with us, Seventh-day Adventist Church. I didn't even, did I ask him? I might have, I don't know, but he was willing, he was there, and he was happy, and laughed at, and it was beautiful. And, yeah, I don't know, so, yeah, it's better to just, I think, well, I don't know. I don't know anything, okay? There's one thing I don't know there's one thing that I know is that I don't know anything. Maybe there's wisdom in that, maybe there isn't, but, you can never trust self. You can never feel. That is the most incurable thing, is pride and self-sufficiency. When we think we know it all, when we think we know it all, and really we know nothing. We know some things, and then I know nothing. That's why we gotta learn. I'm telling you, these are lessons that will help for the rest of your lives. I mean, this is a psychologist. This is a I was reading who was it? The man who wrote the Chicken Soup for the Soul books. Something Canwright. He's talking about how he kept failing. He went to 100 or 1,000 book publishers, and none of them wanted anything to do with Chicken Soup for the Soul. But he never gave up. He persevered. Good lesson in love, and no, never mind, not in love. That's not a good lesson in love. No, in love, don't try to keep someone who doesn't want to keep you. That's a whole other story. But yeah, he kept persevering. He finally did it. Chicken Soup for the Soul is, millions and millions of copies, and heartwarming, and beautiful stories. And what was I talking about? So he was talking about camera. I think it was him or someone else. It might have been Dave Ramsey. He talked about how most people have never read, 70% of the American population have never read a nonfiction book past college. And but why not when the book could actually change our life? You know what I mean? It could improve our life in ways we could never imagine. And so my life is terrible. So I'm trying to and my personality is terrible, and everything about me is terrible. So but there's something I don't know. I can never despair, because I know that God loves us no matter what, and that's the only thing that comforts me. Don't you ever think that God leaves you because of your sin. Don't you ever think that he hates you or he despises you. He despises the sin, but he loves the sinner. Don't you ever forget that. And yes, the people who are supposed to represent him, we do a bad job. We do a terrible job. But there are many, many churches. I mean, here within 20 square miles, 30 square miles, there's like 20, Adventist churches. Find a home. Find just one good person, and make friends for eternity, and learn Christian love and courteousness, things that I need to learn. I have a confession, I've been, just a bad person. But, again, guard against extremes, okay? Yeah, we should have a little sadness when we do wrong, and again, like I said in my first one, co-ecology, shame and stuff, within reason, because you don't want to feel so despair, like, oh, God hates me, he's forsaken me, I should just kill myself. That is not the answer. But over here, it's like, oh, I can do whatever. I'm oblivious to the way that I hurt people. I'm the one that's always right, and I'm the know-it-all and things. So just it's somewhere in the middle. I don't know. Again, I don't know anything, okay? So if you're basing your whole life on what this random person you see saying, instead, read it for yourself, and then hopefully you'll be able to find your own wisdom and apply it to your own life much better than me. And this is just my experience, I guess, my personal experience. This is all this is. If you have a problem with easily aroused guilt, you will want to use this chapter to gain freedom from the bondage of being readily manipulated. Do others lay a guilt trip on you rather easily and thereby manipulately, or failing that, leave you feeling guilty, frustrated, and angry? Claim your freedom in Christ. The freedom expressed in Romans 13, chapter 13, verse 8. Owe no man anything but to love one another. I don't know what that means. I have to go back. Yeah, Romans chapter 13, verse 8. Owe no man anything but to love one another. So don't owe anyone anything. But that's not just talking about money, I'm sure. But to love one another. It's hard to love, huh? It's easy to say, love thy neighbor as thyself, but to do it in practice, it's hard, because we are all, we're all if there's people in your family, then it's dysfunctional, okay? We have all been touched by sin 6,000 years. There's not a single normal family in the world. Every family is a dysfunctional family. But there are people with terrible backgrounds, like Tony Robbins and Nick Vujicic, born without arms and legs, terrible backgrounds who have led extraordinary lives. And there are people with seemingly perfect backgrounds who have spent, who spend the rest of their lives going in and out of rehab, stealing verbatim almost what Tony Robbins says. But yeah, So don't ever think that your circumstances can, always have hope. Always don't look down, but look up and look. But anyway, this is way too much. I gotta just stick with this. And tell yourself the truth about the meaning of most of the obligation statements others direct toward you. Remind yourself repeatedly that person is really only expressing his wishes and desires, and I am not obligated to fulfill them. I got this idea, maybe I'm wrong. You guys tell me if you want to discuss it. Is that, Paul writes, allow yourself to be defrauded. Allow yourself to be defrauded. I'm talking about, brother going to law against each other. Why don't you allow yourself to be defrauded? Now, I apply it's not just about going to court and suing over some whatever, but allowing yourself to be defrauded, I think, in interactions. You think, oh, I'm right, he's wrong. And I go, who cares who's right, who's wrong? Can you just allow yourself to be, can you allow yourself to be wrong even though you're right? Be defrauded and just, have some love. Now, I don't know. It's of course, everything's much more complicated than that. We're not going to learn everything in like 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes here. Let's see. Remind yourself repeatedly. Owe no man anything but to love one another. And tell yourself the truth about the real meaning of most of the obligation statements others direct towards you. So what's the real meaning of the statements, the obligation statements? That people say, oh, you're obligated to do this. You should obligated to do this. If you don't, you're a bad person, guilt trip, blah, blah, blah. Let's see, where are we going? Perhaps you are frequently nagged by a person. You are frequently nagged by a person who tries to put you under guilt and obligation with such phrases as, you know, you really should hang up your own towel and washcloth instead of expecting me to do it for you. Yeah, has that ever worked? Oh man, I was reading these, okay, this is a little morbid. I was reading suicide letters, real life suicide letters. And one of them was this man, and he was just saying, I don't remember, but he was basically saying, yeah, I married the wrong woman. She's constantly nagged, and that's why he took his own life. Now, I don't mean to laugh, but I have to, because I don't mean to laugh, because when I laugh, it's actually a defense mechanism, to not cry. Comedy, you know, comedians are some of the most, you know, broken, you know, people with so much pain, you know, the sad clown thing, there's truth in there. And, you know, Jerry Seinfeld, at least they talk about that. But here, Proverbs 25, verse 24. It is better to dwell in the corner of the housetop than with a brawling woman in a wide house. I was looking for the other verse, which is, basically, your wife continuing nagging is like the continual dripping of the rain. That's like Chinese water torture. That's literally Chinese water torture. So imagine living with someone who constantly nags. Guilty, I nagged. Yeah, and it's not right. I mean, you know, and it's just, got to interrupt the pattern. Says, interrupt the pattern, change, do something else. If this doesn't work, then try something else. If we keep doing the same thing over and over and over again, expecting different results, that's the definition of I think Benjamin Franklin said something of insanity. You know, she's like, oh, you know, he's talking about, like, for instance, dieting. Like, have you dieted? He's like, oh, Tony, I've tried everything. And really, I've tried everything? Oh, I've tried everything. He's like, oh, really? But the truth was, you only tried one or two things over and over again that didn't work. So he talks about divorce the story you keep telling yourself. And I don't know, write a new one, I think he might have said. We have to divorce the story we keep telling ourselves, this, because, you know, let it be according to thy faith, right? This is also a wonderful book by Pastor Doug Batchelor. Who do you think you are? Finding Life Through Real Faith. This is amazing. And it's online for free as well on Amazing Facts website, I'm sure, because most of these books, you can read it online for free. Or call, and usually they send free stuff. Who do you think you are? Okay. Oh, yeah, this is also on the Amazing Facts website. So Pastor Doug Batchelor, he endorses this book. And Pastor Doug Batchelor is Amazing Facts, amazingfacts.org. You know, people from all denominations watch him. He gives the most amazing sermons. And, yeah, we go to church on Saturday. Yes, true. But this man, yeah, people from all denominations listen to him. And an incredible testimony, an incredible man. I shouldn't say too much. But I kind of want to say this. Okay. I've gone to his church for a long time. Back then when I was in Vietnam, I was here and stuff like that. And I never spoken to him. I never want to. I never wish to. I'm too afraid. I'm just deathly afraid. It's like with Elijah. What have I to do with thee, thou man of God? Art thou come to call my sin remembrance? No, of course he would never do. But anyway, I'm talking way too much. My point is that, oh my goodness, when sometimes I feel like Pastor Doug's making eye contact with me, he's probably not, but he's not doing. And it's like, I feel like, you know, this Pastor Doug is very smart. I feel like Sherlock. I feel like he could just read everything about me. I mean, come on, Sherlock. I mean, come on. Pastor Doug is a very, very intelligent, wise man. Okay, what am I doing? Perhaps you are frequently nagged by a person who tries to put you under guilt, obligation, such phrases. You know, you should really hang up your own towel and washcloth instead of expecting me to do with you. I guess if we wanted to do a little exercise, we want to do it this way with the I statement. So we do the I statement. You know, sweetheart, I would really appreciate it if you could hang up your towel and washcloth. If my fiance said that to me, I'd be like, what else can I do for you? I mean, I swear this girl's an angel. She has the patience of a saint. You know, imagine someone who can handle me. I mean, this girl is just, she's not human. She's not human. Anyway, I'm not trying to flatter you, sweetheart. Never mind. If so, you will want to learn to translate the speaker's shoulds into more appropriate language and rephrase his request for him. Oh, so you, okay. Wow, this is very good. Even if he just acknowledges your way of saying it, communication between you will be improved. I need to learn how to communicate. Or shut up. Oh man, I'm serious. I'm so terrible. I'm just such a terrible person. It makes so much sense anyway. That's why the crazy people are the ones who read these books. Okay, obligator. So this is the person, obligator, which is okay, the bad guy. Don't you think you should rake the lawn this afternoon? We're having company tomorrow, you know. Okay, you. It says, you're saying you'd like me to rake the lawn? Oh, okay. I'm trying to do this. We have to learn how to speak with sweetness. I'm trying to learn that. You're saying, okay, you're saying you'd like me to rake the lawn so you'll feel good about the way your house looks when the guests come tomorrow? Go high pitched. I'm good. Yeah, well, yeah, I'd appreciate it. It's confusing. It's literally, yeah, well, dash, yeah, period, I would appreciate it. Yeah, well, yeah, appreciate it, yeah. Okay. Because they expect that you would react in anger and then be argument. That's kind of subconsciously. But when the others say, are you saying that when you react in sweetness, with a soft answer turneth away wrath. Proverbs. A soft answer turneth away wrath. Like, yeah, I guess so. You surprise people. Conquer hatred with love. Yeah? Love conquers all. Love never fails. Hard lesson, easy to read, easy to say, but hard to do. I'm going to try. I got to try. Okay? And the Lord gives us strength. Once the other person's obligation statement has been translated into an expression of his wishes, you are free to express your wishes in the matter too. And together you can work out a solution. If your desires conflict. So if your desires conflict, you work out a solution. That happens at school, work, home, whatever. It happens all the time. We're living in life. You're going to have heart rate. You're going to have setbacks. You're going to have terrible things. You're going to have a death in the family. You'll get sick. You'll lose your job. You'll get divorced. Things happen. Hopefully we can prevent it. Prevention is worth an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure, right? But nonetheless, my parents are divorced, and we turned out fine. No, we blame nothing on nothing. This is all ourselves. Come on, people. People who have terrible acting. Tony Robbins was terrible history. Look at him now, and look at Nick Vujicic. No arms, no legs. Look at him now. Such an inspiration. God's gift to these men, to mankind and stuff. Anyway, we shall know them by their fruits. Such a resolution is hardly possible if one person insists. Come on. My father went through 6 years POW. He went through war. Desmond Doss went through hell over there. All these men that went through this. And we go through a little church, and we little babies. When I was a child, I thought I was a child. I speak as a child. But when I became a man, I put away childish things. So we have to learn to be strong. Mighty men of God. Where's the thing I got from Pastor Doug's Mighty Men of God? I went to this thing, and I got the little thing. I love it. Every time I see it in my keychain, it reminds me, I got to try to be a better person. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, and be strong, We gotta be strong, because I'm telling you, there's some hard things coming. And Revelation says, I think chapter 20, but the fearful and unbelieving. But why is it fearful as a first? There's perfect order. There's a reason God puts everything in perfect order. So, but the fearful shall not inherit the kingdom of God. So if we're cowardly or if we're fearful, but God gives the weakest among us. Look at Desmond Doss, the weakest among us. Even a gun, I would be very fearful. He gives us courage. He supplies it, not us. We just have to connect. He supplies it. He supplies grace. Connect to the Wi-Fi of heaven. I'm trying to modernize for young people. That makes sense, because Jesus used the farming parables for everybody to understand. Now anyway, I'm done. And then download the Word of God in love and grace and strength and courage. All those Christian martyrs, God rest their souls. They are sleeping in their graves, and they will awake one day to everlasting life. So, keep that Wi-Fi connection good, and that's why health is so important. Because we're physical beings. Dave Ramsey was talking about this. We're physical beings, and I don't know anything about Dave Ramsey. I just saw the 10 rules thing, and so I don't really. But anyway, and we're products of our environment. So our environment is so important, because if we're living in a very dirty place, it affects us. And if we look in a more positive place, I understand what you people might think about this. But anyway, it's and we're physical beings, so whatever we eat and drink and do and exercise, or what we watch or what we consume, all these things, that affects our mind, that affects the Wi-Fi signal. And anything that gets between us and the Wi-Fi signal of God, comedy is good too. Comedy, laughter doeth good like a medicine, and merry heart doeth good like a medicine. And we could all use some healing, couldn't we? So people, you gotta smile more. Every time I catch myself frowning for a second, I just put on a smile, and I'm like, oh man, it makes me feel better. And I put my shoulders back up instead of doing like this. If you do this, you're like. And Tony Robbins talks about this in one of his seminars, there's a depressed person, and they have the inner doubt, like, oh, I'm so pathetic, I'm so stupid. And he's like, we'll try doing this, just try saying, I'm okay, and just try smiling real quick. I'm like, do you feel different? I do. Okay, when you're in a positive environment, do you feel different? And with positive people, do you feel different? I do. The positivity rubs off. But if you're in an environment with negative people, I'm telling you, you gotta learn from the negative people if you can't handle it. But if you can handle it, it'll make you stronger. Otherwise, it'll just push you down. That's my theory. Again, I know nothing. Okay. Such a resolution is hardly possible if one person insists that his desires are tantamount to the law of God. Such a resolution is hardly possible, impossible, if one person insists that his desires are tantamount to the law of God. It's all about me, what I want. It's hard to see ourselves. Again, like I said in the thing, I am the worst person. I'm learning things about myself. So again, You know, when I have arguments and these things, I realize that, wow, I should have. And we make up. And we say, you know, I'm sorry. It's okay. And then we grow. That's all it is. Okay. If your brother offend against thee 70 times, and 70 times 7 times, forgive him. And it makes us stronger. And you know, I remember some of my growing up in school before I was a Christian. Some of the people who were my enemies became my best friends. I made very bad first impressions. I'm nervous and stuff, but and bad impressions after that as well. No. And yeah, I remember some people who were my enemies in school. They became my best friends. I don't know why. I guess I could try to think about it, analyze that now. But yeah, anyway. So remember, in Christ you are free from the law, and so is the other guy. Count on the truth, telling help of the Spirit of God. In this chapter, we have focused on the guilt-producing use of shoulds, oughts, and musts. There are many other common devices for generating guilt and manipulating by means of guilt. And in future chapters, we will learn about them and how to deal with them, as well as how to stop using these tactics. I'm going to end right here with these questions. That says, for review, prayer, and discussion. So it doesn't have the answer there, but just for review, prayer, and discussion. I want to do a group. We should do a group, but people, this would be much better, because it's what you're supposed to do. And, okay. For review, prayer, and discussion, these are questions. I'm going to do all these, and then we can all think about it. And then we can discuss it. Okay. Number 1, is it wrong to want, sometimes, to change another person's behavior? Is it wrong to want, sometimes, to change another person's behavior? Oh, I have an answer already. Should I say it? What is manipulation? Number 3, differentiate between manipulation and legitimate efforts to get another person to change.